Most people assume every plant needs soil to survive. But there is a group of plants that not only grows without it, they often do better without it. No mess, no repotting stress, no guessing when to water. If you have been growing in soil out of habit, what comes next may quietly change how you think about indoor plants entirely. Welcome to Plant ER, where smart growers discover plant ideas that actually make sense. In this video, we are covering 5 plants that grow remarkably well in water and genuinely remove the need for soil, not as an experiment, not as a temporary workaround. As a long-term, practical growing method that works in real homes, real spaces, and real routines. If you find this kind of content useful, subscribe now so you never miss a plant idea worth knowing. And stay with us through the full list, because one plant toward the middle of this video has a practical advantage that most home growers completely overlook, and it may be the most useful idea here for people dealing with limited space and low light at the same time. Before we get into the 5 plants, it helps to understand how to judge whether a plant is genuinely suited for water growing, because not every plant handles it equally well. Most people pick plants based on how they look in a pot. That is a reasonable starting point, but it tells you nothing about whether that plant will thrive long-term in water. The better question to ask is this: does the plant have roots that can adapt to a water environment without rotting quickly? Does it have a low to moderate nutrient demand that water can support over time? And does it fit the kind of space and light you actually have? Every plant in this list passes that test cleanly. They are not here because they look attractive in a glass vase, though some of them do. They are here because they work. They grow steadily, they stay manageable, and they remove the 2 biggest frustrations of soil growing: overwatering damage and repotting disruptions. Keep that framework in mind as we go through each one, because understanding why each plant works will help you decide which one actually fits your situation. The first plant on this list is Pothos, and it earns its place here for one reason above all others: reliability. Pothos is one of the most forgiving indoor plants in existence, and that forgiveness carries over completely into water growing. When you move a healthy pothos cutting into a clean container of water, the roots adapt with very little resistance. You do not need to treat the transition as a complicated process. A healthy stem cutting placed in clean water near a light source, natural or indirect, will begin developing water-adapted roots within a few weeks in most cases. Once established, pothos in water requires remarkably little attention. Change the water every 1 to 2 weeks to keep it clean and oxygen-rich, and the plant continues growing with minimal intervention. There is no soil moisture to monitor. There is no risk of root rot from overwatering in the traditional sense. The most common issue growers face is simply allowing the water to become stagnant, and that is easily solved with a simple regular change. For people in small apartments, pothos in water makes particular sense. It trails naturally, it tolerates lower light conditions better than many alternatives, and it stays contained in whatever vessel you choose: a glass jar, a simple vase, or a wider container for a more established display. From a practical standpoint, pothos in water also makes an excellent beginner entry point into soil-free growing. It is widely available, inexpensive, propagates easily from a single cutting, and responds visibly enough that even newer growers can track its progress. If you have never tried growing a plant in water before, Pothos is the most sensible starting point on this list. The second plant is peace lily, and this one earns its place on the list for a slightly different reason. Peace lily is commonly grown in soil, but it is one of the few flowering indoor plants that transitions well into water and maintains its character over time. The key to making it work is the transition itself. When moving a peace lily from soil to water, the roots need to be cleaned thoroughly and allowed to adjust gradually. Rushing this step causes unnecessary stress. Done carefully, however, peace lily in water stabilizes well and can remain in that environment for extended periods. What makes peace lily especially practical for home growers is the combination it offers. It produces flowers when conditions are right. It tolerates lower light environments better than most flowering plants, and it is visually strong enough to serve as a genuine display piece without requiring daily attention. In a water-growing setup, the soil moisture problem, which is one of the most common ways peace lily is accidentally harmed, disappears entirely. You are no longer guessing whether the soil has dried enough or become too dry. The plant sits in its water container. You refresh the water on a regular schedule, and the guesswork is removed. Peace lily also communicates clearly. It droops visibly when something is off and recovers quickly when conditions improve. That responsiveness makes it a forgiving choice, even for growers who are still learning how plants signal their needs. For anyone who wants a soil-free growing setup that still carries some visual elegance without becoming complicated to maintain, peace lily is a strong and practical second choice. Earlier, I mentioned that one plant in this list has a practical advantage that most home growers overlook entirely. This is that plant. Spider plant is frequently treated as a background choice, something people keep out of habit or because it was easy to find. But in a water-growing context, spider plant brings a combination of advantages that is genuinely difficult to match with most other options. First, the propagation reality. Spider plant produces offshoots, commonly called spiderettes, on long trailing stems throughout its growing cycle. Each of those offshoots can be placed directly into water and will develop roots reliably without any complicated process. This means one parent plant in water can become a source of multiple new plants over time, all growing in water, all requiring minimal input. For anyone interested in expanding a soil-free indoor garden without ongoing expense, spider plant is one of the most practical tools available. Second, the light tolerance. Spider plant handles a surprisingly wide range of light conditions, including lower light and indoor spaces where many plants struggle to maintain visible health. Combined with its water-growing capability, this makes it one of the few genuinely low-effort, low-light, soil-free options that delivers ongoing visual value. Third, the manageability. Spider plant in water stays tidy and contained. It does not demand regular repotting. It does not spread aggressively. It grows at a pace that most home growers find satisfying rather than overwhelming. If you are dealing with limited space, lower light levels, and a preference for low-maintenance plant care, spider plant in water may be the most quietly useful plant on this entire list. And that is exactly why it was worth waiting for. We are now at the final two plants on this list, and both of them deserve serious attention. Not because they are trendy, but because they each bring something specific and genuinely useful to a soil-free growing setup. The fourth plant is Chinese Evergreen, and it belongs here for one primary reason. It is one of the most adaptable indoor plants available to home growers, and that adaptability extends naturally into water growing. Chinese Evergreen is a slow to moderate grower with thick patterned leaves that vary across its many varieties, from deep green to variegated silver, red-edged, and pale green forms. In soil, it is already considered one of the more forgiving options. In water, that forgiveness remains. The transition from soil to water requires the same careful root cleaning process as peace lily. Patience matters more than speed here. Once settled into a clean water container with occasional water changes, Chinese Evergreen typically maintains its growth pattern and leaf quality without significant decline. What makes Chinese Evergreen especially practical for home growers is the light tolerance it carries into the water growing context It handles low to medium light conditions well, which means it can fill interior spaces that do not receive strong natural light without becoming leggy or losing its visual strength. For apartments, hallways, shelving displays, or rooms that face away from direct sun, Chinese Evergreen in water offers a genuine long-term option rather than a temporary experiment. Its slow growth rate also works in the grower's favor in a water-growing setup. You are not managing rapid expansion or frequent trimming. The plant fills its space at a manageable pace and stays where you place it. One important note for growers with pets or small children: Chinese Evergreen contains compounds that can cause irritation if ingested, so placement should reflect that reality. That practical caution aside, for home growers looking for a visually strong, low-light tolerant, soil-free plant with a track record of indoor reliability, Chinese Evergreen is a logical and well-supported choice. Now the fifth and final plant, Lucky Bamboo. And before we go further, Lucky Bamboo is not actually bamboo. It belongs to the Dracena family, and that distinction matters because it explains why water growing suits it so naturally. Lucky Bamboo has been grown in water arrangements across homes, offices, and commercial spaces for many decades. This is not a novelty growing method for this plant. It is the standard. Most Lucky Bamboo sold commercially is already growing in water or decorative stones with water, which tells you something important about how well suited it is to this environment. In a home growing context, Lucky Bamboo in water is straightforward to maintain. Keep the roots submerged in clean, non-chlorinated or settled tap water. Change the water every 1 to 2 weeks and place the plant in indirect light. Direct, strong sunlight will yellow the leaves quickly, so a bright but filtered position works best. Lucky Bamboo is also available in a range of arrangements. Single stalks, spiral forms, bundled groups, which gives it a strong display appeal across different interior styles. For home growers who want a water-based plant that requires minimal setup, has a well-established track record in real-world indoor conditions, and comes ready to place rather than requiring a soil-to-water transition process, Lucky Bamboo is the most immediately accessible option on this entire list. It is also worth noting from a practical standpoint that Lucky Bamboo is widely available in nurseries, home stores, and plant markets, often at accessible price points, which makes it an easy starting point for anyone building a soil-free display for the first time. Between Chinese Evergreen and Lucky Bamboo, you have two plants that approach water growing from different directions. One that transitions in from soil and proves its adaptability, and one that was essentially built for water from the beginning. Together, they complete a list of 5 plants that genuinely deliver on the title's promise. Real plants growing well in water, with the need for soil removed entirely. So those are 5 plants that grow genuinely well in water and remove the practical need for soil. Pothos for the most accessible and beginner-friendly entry point. Peace Lily for the grower who wants a soil-free setup that still carries some visual elegance and a flowering cycle. Spider Plant for anyone dealing with low light and limited space, who also wants natural propagation built into the process. Chinese Evergreen for the grower who needs a slow, adaptable, low-light tolerant plant that transitions smoothly into a long-term water setup. And Lucky Bamboo for the grower who wants the most immediately ready, commercially proven, zero-transition water growing option available. None of these plants are on this list because they are popular. They are here because they work. They handle water growing reliably, they fit real home conditions, and they remove the 2 biggest pain points of soil growing: the mess and the moisture guesswork. If you found this useful, please like this video. It helps this kind of practical plant content reach more serious growers. Leave a comment below telling us which of these 5 fits your space best, or ask a question if you are still deciding. And if you want more plant ideas built around real usefulness rather than random trends, subscribe to Plant ER. There is more genuinely useful content coming, and it is always worth being here before the next idea lands.